here's another tool for spotting faulty logic. Welcome to Critical Thinking Scan, where we look at how you can think about any faith-challenging message and arrive at a biblical, logical conclusion yourself. I'm Patricia Engler, and today let's begin part 1 of 3 videos on how to spot formal fallacies or logically invalid argument structures by drawing something called a truth table. Truth tables are just tools to keep track of relationships between true or false statements, using a type of reasoning called propositional logic. Now, we're about to dive into a little more technical side of critical thinking, but these skills are great to know because they let you catch structurally invalid arguments without having to know the name of a single formal fallacy, and without having to know if all the statements in an argument are true. Plus, truth tables are pretty fun if you like solving puzzles. So this will be a fast crash course, so feel free to pause this video as needed. To start, let's take the argument. If chimps and humans share a common ancestor, they should have similar genes. They do have similar genes, therefore they share a common ancestor. We saw in episode 47 that this argument structure uses a fallacy called affirming the consequent. But what if you didn't know that? It turns out you can show whether arguments are invalid by drawing a truth table. First, you represent each statement in the argument with a letter. In this case, let's use P to represent the statement, humans and chimps have a common ancestor, and Q for the statement, humans and chimps share similar genes. These are called simple statements because they contain only one claim. A compound statement is a combination of simple statements, like, if humans and chimps share a common ancestor, then they should have similar genes. If-then sentences like this are called conditionals, symbolized with an arrow between the two simple statements, P and Q. Other types of compound statements include conjunctions, which have two claims connected with the words and or but, symbolized by an ampersand, and disjunctions, which have two claims connected with the word or, represented by this symbol, which looks like a capital V. You can also represent the negations of simple or compound statements with this tilde symbol to say something is not the case. For instance, not P means it is not the case that humans and chimps share a common ancestor. Now, each statement has two possible truth values, T for true or F for false. And you can use a truth table to keep track of which truth value a compound statement gets for all possible truth values of its simple statements. For example, P and Q could both be true, or they could both be false, or one could be true and the other false. For conjunctions, P and Q is true only when both P and Q are true. For disjunctions, P or Q is false only when both P and Q are false. And for conditionals, if P then Q is false only when P is true and Q is false. Knowing these rules, you can create truth tables for entire arguments. You start by listing all possible combinations of truth values for the simple statements, then fill in the resulting truth values for each of the argument's premises and conclusion. For the human-chimp argument, premise 1 is if P, then Q. Premise 2 is Q, and the conclusion is P. Because premise 1 is a conditional, it'll be true only when P is true and Q is false. All other instances get labeled F for false. The truth values for premise 2 are the same as Q, and the values for the conclusion are the same as P. So the final truth table looks like this. Now remember, an argument is valid if the conclusion does not logically follow from the premises. So if you see at least one row on the table that shows a false conclusion with all true premises, you know the argument is invalid. In this case, we can see row 3 has all true premises and a false conclusion. Therefore, the argument is invalid. That's a crash course on evaluating arguments using truth tables. We'll see another example of this next time. Meanwhile, for more on how to think critically about messages which challenge the Bible's teaching, you can access my other CT Scan videos packed with tactics, tips, and tools that helped me as a Christian student at secular university. Thank you for watching. Hey, it's Patricia. Just wanting to let you know that if you like these videos, are on board to share the message of biblical authority, and want to give, you're welcome to help Answers in Genesis produce more content like this and equip more people to defend their faith by making a one-time donation or becoming a monthly supporter by clicking the link below. Thanks so much.